Hello, everybody, and welcome to... That's Scott. That's Alfie. That's me. We're going to get this right sooner or later. Welcome, everybody, to the Paradise Podcast Network. My name is Cory Paradise. Somewhere on this screen, we've all changed positions from last week, if you're paying attention. So now directly to my... What is it now? I can't even tell. This is already off the rails.
I think that's to your left, right? Yeah, that's to your left. Yeah.
To my left or right, to a cardinal direction. Scooty Scott Borgstrom. And
hello.
In some other cardinal direction, Alfredo Garibay. How you guys doing today?
I'm feeling good. Now that you know.
Yeah,
and
you had a lecture work today, right?
You know when you know.
That's how it's done. And when you know, you know.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Sucker. Now, your boy is still messing with stuff. He said he was good, but he really wasn't, and that's fine. I'm still over here fucking around with stuff, but we're good, dude.
We didn't clarify what kind of good. Like, you could be good emotionally, but like, are you good like right now?
Yep, most California thing ever. Enough roasting the way I talk. I'm doing good. I'm feeling good about the setup. I also changed angles.
By water today,
dude.
I changed your launch
everybody
angles.
Out there.
Where you Shohei Ohtani right now?
Hydrate.
400th home run. Set a franchise record for the Halos.
There you go.
Oh man, please for the Halos.
Halo is that the Angels?
The Angels.
Oh, I was gonna make.
Come on.
I was gonna make a Halo joke, man.
We don't have to be so redundant, dude. They're called the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Oof,
that's what they're called now. Instead of just the Anaheim Angels.
That's redundant.
That's the Los Angeles.
The
Angels of Anaheim. That's what it translates.
That's too long.
Mm-hmm.
That's too long. It's too long.
No, it's actually the Angels.
Oh man,
because
don't
it's the Los Angeles Angels.
Don't do this thing where you're like, oh, Revolver Ocelot, like another
the Angels,
Revolver Ocelot, right?
Dude,
don't do that.
That's what it is, though. It's the Angels of Anaheim. Like when you translate it. Baseball, everybody. Good thing we're not here to talk about baseball. We're here to talk about movies. We watched No Country for Old Men. Right off the bat, let's just go around the horn. Alfie, since that's what the button is now. What did you think of the movie? Thumbs up or thumb down?
Oh, just
thumbs up.
What is this, Netflix, dude? Hold up, that is the most.
Thumbs up or thumb down?
Oh, way up, dude.
Thumbs way up. All right, so right off the bat, we're already recommending this movie. So if you haven't watched this movie, go watch this movie. It's worth it. But before we get into that, what else have you guys been watching this week? We had to watch that movie. That was our job this week.
Yeah.
But what are you guys watching in the interim?
Ooh, well, you got me interested about getting a Disney Plus account so I can watch Marvel's What If, because I got a lot of what if questions and I want to know if they're answered and what if they're not. I know episode 2 came out, right, with T'Challa being Star-Lord as the premise, right?
Spoiler. No, it's just a title.
Spoiler, the thing they're advertising. Spoiler, that's a spoiler alert.
Literally the title of it.
But it does have me excited. And then I also saw that Marvel's just teased the Eternals movie.
Oh.
As we were starting this up, they just teased the Eternals movie with some screenshots. So
that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, maybe we'll watch that in the future, right?
Yeah. Alfie, what have you been doing? I know you're a busy man, but have you been able to squeak some time in for some entertainment?
Yeah, I watched another movie called Nocturnal Animals.
Mm-hmm.
It was very not relaxing, but very introspective for me. I resonated.
If I look this up, was it just a nature documentary?
No.
Oh,
David
this
Attenborough
one.
or Morgan Freeman?
Dude, I'm brain farting so hard on one of the main characters. It's got Amy Adams and the guy from Donnie Goddamn Darko. And I
Oh,
can't.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Thank you.
I got you.
Yes. God damn. And Army Hammer's in it. It's a good movie. I recommend.
Well, that's awesome. I've been watching. I got on a big binge for Bosch, which is a Amazon Prime original. It was originally like a book series, and the guy who plays it, Titus Welliver, he was in the Marvel universe. He was in a little teeny tiny little segment of like a movie, and then he was a villain for a couple episodes in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But dude, he plays Bosch so well. Like we seem to have movies that we like to watch here of people or of roles that cannot be played by someone else, you know? Roles that get totally encompassed by that actor. And Titus Welliver in Bosch is like an inseparable thing. There's no one else who can play Bosch after him. It's really good. It's about there's 7 series out now. Newest one just dropped, so I just caught up. Like I binged all the seasons. So
and that's on what platform?
Amazon Prime.
I'm missing out.
All right. So we watched No Country for Old Men, a Coen Brothers film. And before we get into talking about it, before we do anything, let's watch a little clip that I found for you guys.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So I already have this streamed to you guys, so let me flip it over. All right. Ready?
I was just watching this.
Oh, hey, Mr. Javier. The actor, Gene, who was playing the cashier, he had to run to the bathroom for a second. But if you needed someone to run lines, I could stand in here with you if you want. I'd be more than happy to do that. I studied the script last night. So either way, if it helps you out,
What way would that be?
Either we can do it or we don't have to do it.
What business is it of yours?
You're totally right, sir. It's none of my business. I'm a sound guy, It was just I meant to help you out. I didn't mean nothing by it.
Didn't mean nothing.
Yeah, just asking you if you wanted to run lines. That's all. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Here we go. Well, I need to see about closing then.
See about closing.
Yes, sir.
What time do you close?
Now we're closed now.
Now is not the time. What time do you close?
Generally around dark. At dark.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Oh, me or the character? Okay, yeah. Sir.
I said, you don't know what you're talking about. What time do you go to bed?
Sir.
You're a bit deaf, aren't you? I said, what time do you go to bed?
Dude, they should make these. This is how people should submit auditions. Truth, you know what I mean? Go through the effort of compositing yourself into the scene. Already have your partner already, locked and stocked, ready to go. Here's your performance, how it would look in a film. I guess that's the other alternative, is actually just getting casted in films and having a real repertoire.
Nah, too hard.
Well, I don't know. It kind of makes me hearken to that TikTok guy who was accused of stealing a bunch of content from other TikTokers and not crediting them. And then he somebody went and found his acting reel, and then they just lampooned him on it.
Ooh, that's not
It was
good.
him, and it was him playing the douchiest characters, which you would think should have made it easier because that guy's a fucking douchebag. But he still, he still struggled to stay afloat.
That's crazy. You hate to see it. You bring in.
Nah, I love to see it. Just he thought he was so calm. He did that thing with his eyebrows where he's got a half smile where he's like know what I mean? You know that shit-eating grin that Jetstream Sam gives you, like when you first see him, he like turns around and he's like,
well, I mean,
one
it's
of
all fun and
those.
games, and then they bring up like your really terrible acting career, and you're just like, oh, maybe this
Well,
didn't work in my
that's the
favor.
thing though. So he's like, I'm not. Who gives a shit about some fucking copied content? All right, I'm an actor. You give me a script, and I will fucking nail that shit. I'll make it better, or I'll make it good. And it's like, all right, dog, you hopped on a trend, but okay. You hopped on a trend, but okay.
Oh my god.
So, off the top of the, do you guys want to talk about what we liked or what we didn't like?
Ooh.
I'm gonna throw it to
Ooh.
you guys. What
So I
liked
do
or
want
didn't
to
like?
I do want to go into what I liked, because there's a lot more to
Well,
talk
yeah.
about in that sense, because it's a little hard for me
Okay.
to at least figure out what I disliked about the movie, right?
So Scott and I watched it
Um,
together. So then, what about you, Alfie? Do you want to start with what you liked or didn't like?
I'll start with what I didn't like.
All right.
Since it's pretty overwhelmingly positive. And just a side note, I've seen this movie before. I think I watched it sometime in high school.
mhm.
So it's been a while, but
Been a while.
it aged well. I'll tell you that. Like
I think so.
it's still a good movie.
Absolutely.
It's just a very it has its lulls is my only real qualms with it. Now granted there's stuff going on, but it's just like it's so much slower and then you got to follow along and then they also throw in some backstory for for the characters, but it doesn't really it kind of almost falls it kind of almost feels like oh god, bad movies do this, and I'm not calling this a bad movie, but like
Right.
Tarantinoing, where they like throw in conversation about stuff that doesn't really happen on camera, and it's not really
So
relevant, and
so if
it's
I had to
intended.
so if I had to pick your brain, sorry, excuse me. If I had to
Hmm.
pick your brain, do you have like a general like example of a scene that like fits what you're talking about specifically?
Yeah, the sheriff talking about him retiring to who was the older guy, like they just kind of riff back and forth, is what it starts to feel like.
At the
Oh, at
very
the
end,
end. At the end.
Yeah, it's towards the end.
Hmm.
it's like
That
the
was kind
final
of
scene.
like yeah. Well, it also happens throughout the movie as well, but that part in particular, I was kind of losing interest.
Mhm.
Just anytime he starts talking about retiring, I'm like, okay, because it happens several times.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but other times it's done well, like Carson's character, Woody Harrelson's character.
Mhm.
Um, I always found his introduction in like literally, I think the middle of the movie to be one of the funniest fucking things. Not in a bad way, not a good way, but just like a very notable thing. Like we're halfway through this movie. Here's this new fucking character, and
Yeah,
then sure enough,
he's just out of left field, and it's like, oh, it's Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson. What?
Uh-huh.
Like,
yeah,
stick. I'm on
exactly. That's
board. Let's
exactly.
go.
Yeah, it's like I'm cool with it, but like, what the fuck? Are we halfway through this?
Right.
And you know what's funny, man? I thought that the first time I watched it as a high school student, I was like, okay, hello, new character. But I like it serves a purpose, and I get it. It's just it does feel like so far out of left field. They're like, here you go. There's
No,
Woody
of course.
Harrelson has entered the
I have a
chessboard.
question,
But
Scott. So,
Yes.
what did you think of Woody Harrelson's character?
For all like 2 minutes he's in it, I mean, he did a good job. He put on his cowboy hat pretty well. He played a very good Texas guy, and then he got shot, which I would say it was a really stellar performance. Really, really tough act to follow compared to Javier Bardem and Mr. Josh Brolin. But joking aside, I don't know, man. It feels a little forgettable that he's in the movie. Sometimes, right? Outside of this like small pocket of the movie in the middle where he's just like, "Hey, I'm here. Um, I'm in Mexico. Don't ask how, but I'm here." I mean, I don't know. You don't see enough of him to really like get a solid opinion of him, to me at least.
well, like in the because he definitely plays a role, and I feel like he's there for a purpose, and his character fulfills that purpose. And I'm not saying like the character's actual motivation, because obviously shot and dies. But for what the story wanted as sort of this third element, it's almost like a red herring kind of where you think that like, okay, we've added this third chess piece because Javier's character and Josh Brolin's character are both incredibly competent. They feel like real characters that are trying their best. It just I feel like the dynamic between them and the way that the story goes, how it's two very competent characters coming at each other, feels great. And then Woody Harrelson's almost like the other side of that coin, where he's supposed to be and he falls short of it. He just kind of gets caught, you know? He gets caught up.
So the reason I asked that though is because in prep for tonight, I did a lot of and I've been doing this with the other films, but I try to look for behind the scenes footage, you know, kind of the making of, or you know, handheld, or you know, whatever, you know, behind the scenes stuff, just to see what it's like on set. And it was really interesting because there's a tons of material, media and news material and press material when the movie came out with Javier Bardem and Tommy Lee Jones and Coen Brothers and all that stuff, and it's the typical media talk bullshit. Bro, I found a short little thing produced by Josh Brolin.
Oh, okay.
That is very contrary to any sort of like fun being have on set with the Coen brothers specifically.
Okay.
Listen to this.
I think so my agent told me about the part and that the Coen brothers would call me, which they did, and you know, we had a great talk, you know. And
by the way, we can't see that.
Really cool.
We're still staring at Javier Bardem and Kevin James.
Is it just an audio?
It's just
file
audio.
or?
Just audio.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The audience ain't missing out either. There's nothing. It's just listen. So he's in this interview, and he's talking to the camera, and he's listen to the way he says it.
I think so my agent told me about the part and that the Coen brothers would call me, which they did, and you know, we had a great talk, you know, and they were really cool.
Like that is A-class material in how you make someone sound not really cool.
Oh yeah, no, that's the definite like you know, just the safe answer of like we didn't like each other. That's the safe
Right?
answer. They're cool.
It's a weird talk, right?
I like how long he had to sit there for like a second or two. Go, great talk. Like it all just like flashed back in his head of like, yeah.
Well, I ask about Woody in particular because in that little Josh Brolin produced, you know, tirade basically on the Coen brothers, I found this interesting little thing.
Okay.
This is by Javier Bardem.
Woody's a fun experience because he came on the set, he was very nice, he was truly nice guy to talk to, and very funny and very professional. I think he's an amazing actor. But once we were doing the scene, and he brought one idea that I thought it was brilliant. And they asked him, the Coens, to come to a place, to a room. I don't know what happened. But the way this man, Woody, came out of that room sweating, and I said, what happened? And he said, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here.
Bro, what the fuck did the Coen brothers dig up on Woody Harrelson?
What happened, dude?
Isn't that crazy?
That's pretty scary.
That's insane. That's crazier than what I was gonna say. I was just gonna say they share the same Texas town as There Will Be Blood, like same production time too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the craziest I think.
And Tommy Lee Jones was born in the same county that Moss grew up in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
throwback for him.
You know, I just play it because I agreed. Like Woody Harrelson was really good in the film. And I thought that it was weird that his character was only in it for so long, or like was cut off so quick. You know, I thought for sure they would milk a name and an actor as acclaimed as Woody Harrelson. And when they didn't, I didn't think anything of it. It was like the rest of the movie is kind of in line with him dying right there. But that kind of bit right there, when I heard it, I was like, huh, I wonder if that initial reaction, that initial feeling I had has any sort of any basis, you know, like maybe he was supposed to be in the film for a little bit longer, and then he stepped on the Coen brother toes, and they're mutated together 10 toes to each of them. How would you do that?
Afraid of the Hydra, man. Afraid of the Hydra. Ugh.
I just thought that was really interesting because the acting in this movie is amazing. Like,
yeah, it's stellar.
You know, Josh Brolin plays that character so well, and it's partly because it's, you know, he grew up on a ranch, and that's what he did, and kind of when the Coen brothers were looking for a person to fill that role, they auditioned a lot of people, but none of them had that thing that made them like a Texan. You know, like it felt like when they said this, like when we were watching people, it was like they were trying to act like a Texan. They were trying to act the part. But when we found Josh Brolin, it was like he was wearing the hat before the audition. You know, like he was just, that was him. And when he set in that role, you know, then there was a quote with Brolin saying that basically the character that Moss inhabits is essentially just a bunch of people that he worked with when he was on the ranch, you know, just balled up into one character. And it's like, that's what makes that character so good, you know. Just it is real, you know, when you're talking about a movie like this where every single second feels tension, you know, like you feel every second there's no time to rest. It has to be grounded somehow, and with Brolin there, he did the job. And
he did it pretty well. He did it really insanely
I would
well.
also be remiss if I didn't give it to the actress as well, McDonald. She did a really good job. Alfie, here's a clip I have of her. I played this for Scott earlier, and it blew his mind.
I think.
Oh, that's Woody Harrelson. Get out of here, Woody.
Carla Jean is married to Llewellyn, and it's a really sweet relationship. Actually, you get the sense that they're very well matched, and she can give as much as he can take. There's kind of a nice banter between them.
She's Scottish.
Yeah, that's funny. Now that I've heard it, it's kind of like, oh, are Southern people just Scottish people minus the English part? You know, I'm doing some fucking geographical math.
They're north. They go north, and our Southerners go south. It's just the polarity. It's the yin and yang, dude. They're the white dot in the black mass, and and Mississippi is our white dot in the opposite of what I just said.
Might have to be that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this analogy was poorly conceived. Yikes.
No, I think it works. If you're Southern, go ahead and give us a follow on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter. Prove us right, prove us wrong. Leave a comment.
All the things are right there, right below me. Go click them right now. Clicking it would stop the stream. Don't click them.
But speaking of actors, though, I did dig this up about Javier Bardem. He didn't actually speak English, didn't drive, and hated, like, never used a firearm before this movie. He had to learn all three to fulfill this role, right? Wow. And he goes on record saying that at some point he ended up, like, started dreaming in English, right? Like, it was that much that insane how much he was studying for this role, right? And it's very apparent that, like, he doesn't, English isn't his first language, especially when you go back to the interview that Cory played, right? Where his accent's like thick, right? Compared to this movie
last year, man, and I changed completely my physicality and everything. I changed the whole face and everything. I did an amazing transformation.
You did you?
Yeah, I put a lot of weight on purpose. I ate a lot. I drank a lot of beer. I stopped smoking. very professional.
And that was only for the role.
No, that was because I felt like shit.
There's Javier Bardem's take on working with the Coen brothers.
I'm a fan.
Shit. Oh, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
what's crazy is when I watched that interview, it's true. Like after the film, he dropped weight and he looks completely different. I mean, it wasn't he wasn't in James Bond after this, right? He did some other films.
No, Skyfall was like a couple years later,
Yeah.
like 2012, 13,
Yeah.
right? Which again, completely forgot because he looks so different in Skyfall. You know, not even talking about
You
like
know,
the hair and shit, but
you know what always gets me, man?
Hmm.
Javier Bardem and oh Jesus. Hang on a second. The guy who played the comedian, he's in The Walking Dead, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Dude, they kind of look alike to me.
You're just racist.
I always get them no.
Just kidding.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's from Seattle.
I love the offensiveness like in that tone.
Seattle.
Just, no,
it's nothing to do with his race. It's just I love it.
Like, well, because was Javier Bardem born in
Seattle?
No, dude, but he's like not from the U.S. Right?
No, I don't think he's from the U.S. I don't think so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They
Unless
Jeffrey
Seattle's
Dean
no
Morgan
longer a US
for a minute. I always get him confused because I always think Javier Bardem could have also been physically. He could have played the comedian in Watchmen.
Oh,
do you see it?
Yeah, I could see that.
I can't see that. I can't see that.
Thank you. That's all I needed to hear.
Thank you.
I mean,
I'm not racist.
So when Scott and I were watching this, though, we could not help but compare like Sweet Virginia in this movie. Like we couldn't help but do it.
Is it something you did as well, Alfie?
No, not at all. I was fully into because this movie goes all over the fucking place. Sweet Virginia is like a encapsulated tale in Alaska.
Ooh, Cory, did we talk about how like different this would be? So I kind of want to dive into this, Alfie. Just because we didn't hear your take. And we'll go through ours, no worries. But what did you feel like these scenes with Tommy Lee Jones were just like filler or just like unneeded, or were you just more like, oh, I want to focus more on Josh Brolin and how the fuck he gets out of this,
I mean, they were definitely a B plot, and it's weird because I don't remember my experience watching it the first time because it was so long ago. So I kind of like I already knew where it was going, but like analyzing it a little bit, I was like, this is just the B plot, and like the threads come together, like his wife obviously is a loose end, like anything he cares about is going to be a loose end, and so far this is the only other person that he's shown any kind of like emotion for, to the degree where he's like, take this, get out. Like he's doing it right. That was the thing about it, was he was doing it right. He was being like as smart as you can be in that situation where your motivation is to come out on top. Apart from taking the shotgun blast to the shoulder, and that's one thing I loved about this movie was like the character is competent. You're not really left wondering too much like, why the fuck would he do that? You're like, yeah, dude, that's exactly what I would do. Like, or at least when I watched it, I was like, yeah, dude, you gotta get out of there. Oh yeah, you gotta go do that. Oh, he stashed under the house. Okay, well, he wants to do the right thing. Okay, that's why he goes back, I guess. But you know what I mean?
Like, I want to take a second with that scene though where he goes back, because it's at a part in the movie where when it happens, it's a mistake. Like he wakes up.
He acknowledges. He's like, no, some dumber like.
But it occurred to me earlier when I was talking with Scott before the stream, was that like even that part of it was so integral to how everything happened, because if he didn't go back for that guy, the Mexicans would have figured out that like someone took the money. They would have been on his trail sooner or later, and it would have like started in town or like at his house. Like it would have changed.
Not
the
even
dynamic.
that. If he didn't go back and he was just sitting on the money, Javier Bardem's character would have found him
Yeah,
immediately.
exactly.
But like
Right.
it would have, like, if he didn't go back, you wouldn't reach the point at El Paso. Like
Mhm.
that was a just as important part as like any other part in the film, you know, was him going back. And it feels like a mistake, but it's like at the end of it, it's this total, like it's a puzzle piece and it fits together with everything. It was just I kind of like that, where at first a lot of the scenes kind of feel like what did I just watch? You know, like what was that? I don't even understand. Like when the clerk scene, you know, it's like
Mhm.
it almost has no purpose other than to just be like, who the fuck is this guy? You know, it's other than to just weird you out a little bit more. But then at the end of the film, you start thinking about it all on the drive home, you know, when you go to bed, and the next day when you get up, you start thinking about it more, and it's like, all right, everything kind of fits together in its own way, and it's like it's it's what makes it such a good movie, you know?
Yeah,
It's got everything. It's got every little piece, but at the end of it, you just don't feel, you know, it's one of those films, it doesn't leave you feeling good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's why I like this movie so much, you know? Just because it's one of those movies where it goes into depth about a lot of things. It makes sure that no piece is like improperly placed. You know, there's a purpose for every scene, you know. There's a purpose to, the glass clerk, Javier Bardem, interrogating that guy. You get to peer into his head, like you get to see his kind of methodology to his madness, right? Um, just like mentally, right? You also get to see Josh Brolin like just figure out, okay, well, if he's doing this, I need to do this to, counteract that, right? And it's kind of what I think I wanted from Sweet Virginia, right? To compare the two of like one force versus another. But maybe I went into Sweet Virginia thinking something else, or maybe I'm coming out of Sweet Virginia and coming out of this movie expecting something else entirely, you know? But this movie feels more of like a whole picture, you know, a whole picture, some action, and then side characters to really like wrap it all into a nice bow. Um, it's just such a well placed movie, and every shot is just as beautiful too, you know. Um, I know we were talking about how Sweet Virginia had a nice like naturistic like Canadian setting, like a Seattle setting, very green, very luscious. You've got the mountains in the background, you've got the clouds, everything looks pretty, right? Well, now you have the opposite end of the spectrum where you still got the desert, but everything still is shot in a very nice, detailed locale. You know, camera angles are fucking beautiful. You know, um, it's just all around a good fucking movie. Very solid, very well written. And
Here's something I
ah,
really liked. Okay.
mhm.
Here's something I really liked is I
Mhm.
loved the choice in like signature weapon that they chose for him, for Javier Bardem's character.
Oh
This
yeah.
pressurized, you know, ramrod kind of thing. Like, because and I was telling Scott about this, but the whole movie is like, I feel like you can compare like Sweet Virginia to it because they're both noir-esque films. They are, they're No Country for Old Men kind of goes noir, kind of goes thriller, kind of goes horror. It has all these different kind of genre bendings that it's doing, but at the end of the day, it's a noir. It's like a chase. It's a hunt. It's a suspenseful movie. Every second there's no time to let up. You're always being hunted, and the Javier Bardem's character, he's out there. That's the thing that makes his performance so good, is that there's something about his character where in other films he's out there. It's a hunt, but for some reason, or for the way the film it feels, you get that little chance to breathe. That breath of fresh air. But in this movie, you don't get that. It's always on the wire, on the clock. He's hunting you, and that at no point does he have to escalate that ramrod tool. It's like they don't the film doesn't build a way to make it harder for him to use it. It's always this tried and true tool that keeps working every time he uses it.
Mhm.
And so it makes it like that much scarier because you know exactly how he's coming. You see Josh Brolin hide in that room, and it doesn't matter. You know exactly how Javier Bardem is gonna try and get there. You know all the tools he has. And that's what makes it so much scarier, is like, as a viewer, you know what's gonna, like, how he's coming after him. You know that he's gonna get there. It's that anticipation of him getting there, and they do it so well. It's been a long time since I've watched a film that does it, that makes me feel that way. That makes me feel like on the edge of my seat, going like don't sit in front of that door. Like,
Mhm.
dude, he gets freaking nailed by that lock.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I remember we were talking about like, oh, did he get shot or was it the lock? Right? When it first happened, you're just staring at the door and you're just like, "Don't- you know he's coming. You know he's coming. But you've got this like small hope it's like, the clerk at the hotel. And then you hear the right, and you're just like, ah, fuck. It's suspenseful and it's oh god,
I
dude.
mean, he steps in front of the door
Uh-huh.
and then stops, and then he goes and turns the light off, and then comes back, and it's like,
I thought he put a towel under the door. I honestly thought he put something under the door. I didn't think he turned the light off,
no,
right?
I think he just turned the light off and then came back. It's
Yeah, it
just,
had to have been the light. Had to
it's
have been the
just
light.
stuff like that. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
What did you
Oh.
what did you think was the overall meaning of the film, Alfie?
Well, I think the coin toss has a lot to do with like luck, or in a grander sense, like destiny or fate, you know? And in some ways there's themes as well of like, like Carla Jean, the wife, how she's like, it doesn't matter what the coin toss is. I'm not calling it because it's your decision to kill me or not. And like,
Mm-hmm.
there's also that. There's also like, why is Anton the way he is? Like, simple loony isn't a good enough
What is it?
explanation for the
What was his
movie.
response mean? Do you remember his response to that? She's like, "You
Yeah, he
kill
just
me."
walked away.
No, he said me and the coin came in the same way.
Mhm.
Undecided.
Oh, maybe that's what that means.
Oh, we were not thinking about
That's
that answer.
clever, dude.
We
Wow.
were not
Yeah,
thinking about
that was
that.
lost on me. I was trying to
Wow.
figure out what that meant. Like,
Oh
I
my
was taking it
god.
very literally, but that's a very
You know
that's
what? You
There's
get
very
an A plus for
astute.
also
that. You get an A
there's
plus for
also
that.
there's also I forget if it's Carson. I think it's Carson who mentions that it's during the scene where he's trying to like bargain for his life, where he's like, you're a slave to your fucking weird rules, blah blah blah. Like, you know what I'm talking about, where
Mhm.
he's kind of roasting him for being a weirdo and
Yeah.
like always adhering to him, to which he responds, it's kept me this far, like it's got me this far,
Mhm.
why would
Yeah.
I stop?
Mhm.
So I get superstition maybe could be a theme here. Like, what are the odds? Because let's go back to the example. If let's say he didn't go back, well then Javier Bardem would have just shown up at his place, and he would have got the drop on him.
Of course.
So was it fate that he decides, I know this is stupid, but I'm gonna go do it anyway? Like,
Mhm.
is that fate?
Well,
And then
maybe
what's the
I'm thinking about this, and maybe a good question to ask before we can actually kind of maybe like nail down what a meaning of this movie is. But
Mhm.
like, who's the main character?
Oh, I'm sitting on this one, and I wanted to talk about this that same day, but I do think it's Tommy Lee Jones. I do think it's Tommy Lee Jones, right?
I I would agree,
Hmm.
but I also have like in an interview in the behind the scenes making of footage, the Coen brothers are talking about the movie, they're talking about the characters and the actors, and when they get to Tommy Lee Jones's character, they say, quote unquote, um that he's the center of the movie.
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah, that makes sense. It happens in his town, and then does it start with him, or does it start? No, it starts with Anton.
It opens with him talking, like a small little monologue, right? But you
Yeah,
don't
you're
actually
right.
see
It
the character.
begins and it ends with him.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
there's something to
yeah.
be said about that.
Hmm.
Because I
Well, because I
think,
mean, oh,
yeah, what
sorry,
were you
go on.
gonna say?
Sorry, I was just gonna
Coon.
say that, like, he's an old sheriff. He thinks he's seen it all, and in the beginning of the movie, he does, question, what if the older generation were in my
Oh,
shoes right now? What if, what would the old dogs say about, the stuff that's going on today? How would they handle this situation, right? And the whole movie, you see Tommy Lee Jones kind of like dismiss these things. He's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna go down. I'm not gonna go down. It's just a guy drinking milk. What are we gonna find? Yeah, some guy drinking milk. Whatever, right? And it only sinks in that he's kind of out of his league when Josh Brolin dies, right, at the hotel. And I think that's kind of the turning point of like him just realizing, maybe I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Maybe this is beyond
I
me.
think it's more that he
You know?
just doesn't have the stomach for the increasingly violent tendencies that people have. Like as
Mhm.
time goes on, like he's older. He's an older
Yeah.
guy. I wanted to circle back to your question about who the main character is.
Okay.
It is a sheriff, at least if we're following the source material, which is the novel.
Yeah. Okay.
Each chapter starts with a narration from the sheriff, so I think it
Mm,
stands to reason that it is the sheriff.
yeah.
If we're going by the source material, I mean the
Well, I
protagonist
mean,
of the movie could be different.
even in the movie, they do a really hard like left hook right towards the end, where you're like, oh, Josh Brolin gets invited for beer. Hey, sick. You've got his weakness, a girl and beer, cool, right? And then it hits you, he's dead. And where do you go from there? Your whole attention is now centered on the sheriff recollecting with some of these older dudes. A lot of these older men, right? First, the old guy in the town, and then he goes back to his, I want to say his like buddy in the wheelchair, right, with all the cats. And I wouldn't say those scenes didn't have a meaning. Of course they have a meaning of like, oh well, he just wants to reconfirm that, hey, maybe this is it. This is the choice. Would you? I would more say he just wants to like kind of confirm himself is what I got of like maybe retirement is the choice here. And I'm sticking with it, and I want to see what you guys think. Um, and it also kind of ties into his dreams too of like this is gonna haunt him for the rest of his life, I'd say. um, or at least stick with him for the rest of his life. But it is definitely kind of like I think he just regrets not doing more for this one. You know.
It's almost in a way, it's like this is the case that broke the camel's back.
Mhm.
Like I kind of take when he talks about his dreams at the end. One of the dreams is he dreams about his dad and him
Mhm.
being there to like being there for him in the end. And it's like it kind of feels like those are dreams and ideas and thoughts you have at the end of your life. Again, like it's kind of a summation type of talk, and it feels like this is kind of the one where you go like he's just not up to it.
Yeah.
At
Not
every
anymore.
point he's trailing. At every turn he's two steps behind, but he's
Mhm.
not off. That's the thing that's unique about him is that at no point is he off basis.
Mhm.
When he goes and sees the car on fire, he knows the make, he knows the model, he knows the reason, he's seen it before. They go out to the dead bodies in the open field. He knows what the drug is, he knows who they are, what they're doing. He knows all this stuff. It's just like whatever this thing that rode into town on the wind, this Javier Bardem character, it's kind of like the like, it's that realization that like too old for this, it's
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
over. Like
And I
it,
think I think that circles back to the beginning monologue too, because it now after watching the movie, it feels more like maybe he's asking it after the fact. Like what would they have done here? You know, what would they have
mhm.
done differently? Maybe I could have done something they would have. And I think it's more just like accepting that he's out of the game. You know.
What I
Hmm.
love about it is like this kind of idea is if you have to make a movie, this is one of the hardest things to capture. It's this ineffable question that never really gets asked, right? It's like
Mhm.
we're sitting here right now, be it a couple days, a day later, talking about it, but the movie holds this question at the very end for it, like you can't help but wonder, right? Like, what does this mean? What he said, what does that mean? You know, you're forced to like ring it through your head afterwards, and you don't get an answer. And it leaves like truthfully, it leaves me with this very funny feeling in my gut.
Mhm.
That's not bad, but it leaves me wanting. You know what I mean? Like not from the film, but it feels like these types of movies make you ask questions that it carves a hole out inside of you that you have to fill. You know, it's like, or rather, it's a hole you realized you never knew was there,
Mhm.
and now you have to fill it. You have to like, what does this mean? What do I take away from this film that is meant to be a Rorschach test for the people who watch it? You know,
Mhm.
because you could take. I
Uh,
think this is a film I'll watch 20 years from now
mhm.
and go, holy shit, dude. Like, wow, you know? Because
Mhm.
I get that feeling from like Tommy Lee Jones's character that there's a part of him that you'll understand when you get there, you know? There's a part of his take on things, his character's view on everything that I think when you get there, it has an even more impactful like connection to you where you're like, fuck yeah! Like you reach a point where you agree with him, or like you almost feel it in your own field or something. That's what I feel about this film. It has a very unique place
Mhm.
amongst the many films that I've watched. You know, it has this very unique feel that I've never felt with anything else, and now I'm almost left like wanting that feeling again. Like I want something else that's gonna make me ponder like some inner question about myself, you know, or
Mhm.
like it's yeah, that's the greatest that's the best thing I have to say about it is like it just leaves me coming back. It leaves little nuggets in my head that I have to chip away at every so often. I'll be driving down the 22 going for a 15-minute drive down the freeway and it's like, all right, what did Tommy Lee Jones mean here?
Really? Because I mean, like, I'm pretty sure I do the same, and I'm like, maybe I could pull that shit at a gas station with that quarter. Maybe I could try that.
You're gonna start going to every hotel room and undoing like,
No, no, no. I'm talking about the heads or tails thing, right? Just
oh,
be totally just out of
dude,
pocket, dude. Out of pocket at every gas station, dude. See if they get away with fucking just free gas.
it makes. I
Uh,
was thinking about this, but it makes you wonder if that conversation he had with the clerk, if he
mhm,
had that with Tommy Lee Jones, you know,
mhm,
if like I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it a little bit, but like
mhm,
it's just kind of like what if it's not what if the purpose of that scene is more or less to not just introduce Javier Bardem, but to also kind of go like what he thinks of those types of people, these people.
mhm.
I don't know. He's a very nuanced character. Alfie, what didn't you like about this movie?
Oh, I already went over that.
What was
He
it?
did.
It was those lapses
Oh, the
in
lapses
like
in time.
Yeah.
not the lapse in time, but the lapses in what I was finding to be I guess the more meaningful conversation. Although now with the context of the sheriff is the main character, kind of makes a little bit more sense why those are there and what they're there for and
Mhm,
what his whole angle was. So I get it. I still didn't enjoy them as much, but
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand why they're there now, and I can appreciate them for what they are. But I would say
mhm,
those lulls. Um, I don't know the whole movie, not the whole movie, but the Anton character is very like It's almost like he has a god complex in a way. He just kind of sees the people in his way. He sees the people ants. Like he can kind of do with as he pleases, but because of his capacity to communicate with them and usually like extract information out of them at just through sheer force of will because somebody doesn't want to die. He's able to be like, all right, I'm a merciful God. I'll
Yeah, he gets that
extend
like
my
power
powers
trip
of
over him.
allowing you to choose your fate because normally I choose your fate. But today it's you, kinda. Like that's the crumb of free will that he offers them.
It's kind of like a Two-Face, like like
Yeah, except his
let
quarter has
fate.
the same. He chooses fate.
No,
Alright,
no.
so
I mean, he gave his quarter to the gas clerk, so that's not his quarter anymore. That's the gas clerk's lucky quarter.
if you had to say something about what you didn't like, Scott, what would you choose?
God, I mean, I honestly would have to agree with Alfredo that they do go on a little bit too long. And it's not to say those scenes are bad. I think they're stretched out a little longer than I would have liked. It's hard to pinpoint down like specifically. Oh yeah, cut it here, cut it here, cut it here. Because in the beginning they're funny, and I mainly take them more as like a reprieve or a break from those really tense scenes with Javier and Josh Brolin of like, oh, gunfight, 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 and then it's the sheriff going, well, there was a gunfight here. Yeah, that's about the extent of his fucking work, right? Um, and I mainly just took it as kind of like a break or, like I said, a reprieve from the action. But I think that works in the movie's favor. Not to change it from dislike to like, but again, I think that works in the movie's favor when
Yeah.
something actually happens on the sheriff's
Well,
like
you can
lull
dislike
time.
something that the movie did
Yeah,
well. Like,
yeah. But
'cause
again, this whole movie, it's hard to say something bad about this movie, because I
it is.
can't find anything truly like about it,
For me, the only thing, like the only part of the film that I would maybe like, I had a little bit of say creative like control. I would have made the jump from Moss getting killed and Javier and Tommy Lee Jones coming into scene to find the shootout at El Paso. I would have tried to make that a little bit less ambiguous of like what's going on. Like maybe show us a little bit of the shootout, like instead of just like down the street and fleeing, shooters, or like I don't know, give us a little bit more explanation of what happened. We're following Josh Brolin this whole
I
time.
think that goes hand in hand with one of the movie's themes of nihilism, though, is
I
it
agree.
doesn't
No,
feel the need to explain that, and sometimes you don't get explanations.
I
I feel
agree.
like
It's
that's
all a part of like what they were going for. It's just I just wish there was this. I wish I knew just a little bit more of what happened. Like you show me this character all the way through. I want to know what happens to him.
Yeah.
But I accept that he dies and move on. It's part of it's part of that unique weird feel the movie has. Man, I was like, it took me
I think we
like
were just
during
like
the film. It took me a while to like go, huh, what, huh, what, huh, what,
Yeah.
and then I missed like 10 minutes of like stuff because I'm like, where does this? When are they? Are they gonna? No, okay.
Well, because I mean, we were sitting there and watching it, right? And as he's pulling up, Tommy Lee Jones is pulling up. We see the guys from earlier who interrogated the mother, and I didn't know she died until they showed the grave. You know what I mean? I didn't know she fucking died, right?
Well, she
the
didn't.
movie does do a lot of that.
Yeah.
But she died later, right? She died from like cancer.
I think.
She died.
Right?
Yeah,
I thought she died in the shootout, right?
no, because
yeah, they don't.
they start doing time jumps like 5
Yeah, they
years,
do
5
a
months.
lot at
Like
that, right?
yeah,
Or I wouldn't say like 5 years,
it was
but they
like 5
randomly
months or
jump between
something.
like
They do
two
a lot of
things.
jumping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they jump between a lot of things after that scene, right? But what was I getting at here?
I don't know, but I have a lot more clips that I pulled earlier from this.
Uh-huh.
Man, there's Woody goes into some weird talks, man.
Josh and I got along like a house of fire. I really did enjoy working with him. And I mean, I do think that he and I shared some things during that the filming of this movie that maybe most people shouldn't know about.
Wow.
But we certainly
What could it have been?
bonded.
Is that where the Coen brothers got him sweating?
Both of us had our eyes opened.
Oh. Well.
Okay.
Woody, my man.
Okay.
During the foot, like where I pulled this video, the audio from, on the video that it shows Josh Brolin running around in his underwear at like the edge of a like pond. It's like, all right, well, what is
It
Woody?
begs the question. It begs the question: is Woody your real name, or is that just an alias you're taking on now? Right?
That's the guy that actually looked after me. That guy took care of me. I mean, that's what I'm in it for. That's who I'm looking for. And the Coens were obviously not them.
Dude, he didn't like them, man. He wanted to rip them a new one.
We really came together as a family. I mean, I'm not including, Joel and Ethan here.
Those are the Coen brothers.
We came together as kind of like Hanoi Hilton a bit.
He's comparing the set of this movie to Hanoi Hilton.
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. They are so much fun to work with. I mean, they're great. They're geniuses. Everybody knows that.
He's comparing the set to a prisoner of war camp.
That we were the dim bulbs surrounding the master light. It was good because it broke down our egos and we were able to kind of work in an environment of humility. At least that's what we thought in the beginning.
Dude, it's crazy, right? They were the dim bulbs surrounding the Coen brothers, who were the shining light between all of them.
It makes me wonder if any actors from like the other films that they've made feel the same way.
So that's the funny thing. It's listen, look.
I did this movie last year, man. This is for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I don't want. Can you please switch it off? Okay. Is this the light is still on?
No, turn the light off.
There's one clip where he says like, there's not a lot of behind the scenes. I don't see a lot of behind the scenes footage of Coen brothers films. Like he actually like mentions that.
There was a moment where I asked for the salt because we were having lunch.
Oh, listen to this story.
And I don't know what I said, something that I guess they didn't like or something, and they twisted my arm. And I thought it was kind of a joke, but I saw Ethan's look very kind of aggressive, which surprises me. And then, I mean, I let it go. I didn't think about it too much, but after that, my how do you call this?
Wrist.
My wrist hurt a lot, and I thought, what happened? Why that violence?
Pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's when I got done with this, this was not what I expected to find an hour before the stream. You know what I mean? Like, so it was really crazy.
That's the guy.
No, that was a. What's some more?
It's a funny.
That's the guy that.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Josh. Who was it again?
That's the guy that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay.
What is a funny experience because he came on the set.
Oh, yeah, we heard that one about him being like told that. Yeah, like
I did this movie last year, man.
That's the guy.
I changed completely my physical.
Yeah. Well, there was like, I watched that. I was like, wow. You know, it's all produced by. Who's his name?
I think my agent.
Oh, listen to this. Listen to this.
For drinks one night, and
It's by Woody.
we had. That was. Some things just
What happened?
changed the way you look at life.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like I'm
right
coming
there.
off a little bit
Oh no, you're good.
strange.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm open-minded to, alternative medicine, of course.
Oh, me too, man,
But
me
I
too.
don't. But I kind of what I eschew, shall we say, Western medicine. I've been a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. All right. See you later, Woody. All right.
What the fuck was going on off set, dude?
So, okay, but did you hear? Okay, I was talking a little bit. I want you to listen closely. All right.
We went
Okay,
for drinks
Listen to
one
the
night,
other
and,
voice. Okay. Listen to the other voice. It's hard to hear, but you'll hear it.
Some things just change the way you look at life.
Right here.
I feel like I'm coming off a little bit strange.
No, not at all.
I'm open-minded.
You hear that?
You know.
Did you hear that?
No, not at all.
Did you hear that?
Brolin, right?
That's the guy that actually looked.
That's the guy. It's Josh Brolin. He produced this documentary. He's the guy sitting in the background talking to Javier Bardem, talking to Woody Harrelson, talking to all these people, digging up the dirt, you know?
I can't believe he referenced his Avengers first intro quote by saying, "I'll do it myself," making the interviews.
So this movie went on to win 4 Oscars. I at one point had all the data pulled up, and then I got rid of it.
I feel like this
like a
movie
professional.
did not need to have the treat your actors kind of shitty take to it.
Yeah, you would have never known, right? Like,
No.
it's pretty comes out of left field when I heard about it.
Well, kind of like this movie. A lot of things come out of left field.
All right, so this movie, what estimated budget of? Who wants to guess? Estimated budget?
32 million.
32 million. Mighty fine guess, Scott. Do you
25
have it?
million.
45. Okay, good. It wasn't
25.
like a
25.
33 million.
No, 25 million.
Oh.
25.
It was $25 million was estimated. Now, who wants to go for the estimated gross income from U.S. and Canada?
50 million?
50 million.
I'm
Alfredo.
gonna double my answer.
What? Oh, you're gonna.
Yeah, what about you?
Estimated gross from U.S. and
I
Canada.
don't know, maybe $30 million. I feel like the violence was like an off-putting thing.
$74 million.
Oh wow, it did well.
They made almost three times the estimated budget. Their opening box office weekend was $1.2 million on November 11th, 2007.
Okay.
The gross worldwide income towers over $170 million. So, did really well.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
where are the all the
Good to know that it's not
awards?
just a cult classic and that it actually. I should.
I mean, it did
Coen
win a
Brothers.
couple Oscars, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find like all of them.
Every Oscar. I'm trying to find every Oscar. All the Oscars in their hands. God,
It won a lot. It won
Mhm.
Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, let me go actually to the Wikipedia. That's Anthony Bardem or Javier Bardem. That's not No Country for Old Men.
So while you're looking this up,
Yeah.
Alfredo.
Save me.
Right, Alfredo. What would you give this movie, like, out of a 10? Out of a 10, right? Now that you've seen it again and you can like reform an opinion on it, compared to what the fuck they killed him,
An 8. It's a little slow and a little long, but still a good movie.
Mhm.
Also, what the fuck? Your main character's first name is Llewellyn?
Llewellyn?
Llewellyn? And did
Now
you
you
see
got
the way it's
Llewellyn.
spelled?
No.
Yeah, okay. So it's spelled
Llewellyn.
Okay, you just said a bunch of. Is that you just? I have to change my password now. Like, that was my auto-generated password.
Yeah, every other character has a decently normal name. You've got Wendell.
Llewellyn.
Sorry, Carson, Carla, Ed, Anton, man who hires Wells.
Aguaman. That's how they credited the guy that was killed.
Man.
That was like Agua.
Mr. Eduardo.
Agua.
I ain't got your
He's
Agua.
Aguaman.
I love this actor's name, and I don't think you looked this up, Alfie, but this actor's name, Chip Love, aka Man in Ford.
Yeah, the guy in the Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know of that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you remember that strangled deputy at the beginning? Zach Hopkins? Yeah, he strangled deputy.
Oh.
All right. So it was nominated for 8 8 Academy Awards: Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Film Editing, Best Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture. And it won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Coen Brothers took 3 of them, and Javier Bardem took the supporting actor role.
Yeah, that's crazy that Brolin doesn't get anything for this movie, but Javier Bardem,
Yeah.
my guy, you're outstanding.
Yep. So, what did you give it, Alfie? Out of
Gave it an 8.
Gave it an 8. All right. Oh, that's the wrong thing. If I was really good with this stuff, I'd be on top of it, but I'm not. It's unfortunate.
It is okay.
You gave it an 8?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Solid 8. Solid 8. It's missing 2 because it was too slow and too long. And 2 hours.
Too slow, too long. It's the next Fast and Furious.
Too long. 2 hours.
Nice. I like how you positioned it so it's on my screen.
All right, Scott. What do you give this film?
I'd give it a 9. I would
give it a 9.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good score.
Give it a good 9. Yeah.
What would you give it, Cory?
Yeah.
I give it a 9
he's
too.
got to place it on my TV.
I got a lot of things I got to do. Okay,
Well,
this isn't an easy process.
I just want to
This
make
is
sure
a
Llewellyn
long,
doesn't come in here.
long process. I wait till the end to do. Yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10 for sure. It's right
you
there.
Got no TV to put your score on.
Yeah, move your camera. Move your camera. Move your camera. Move your camera, Llewellyn.
Oh, it would help if
camera's still on me. Camera's still. Oh, this is awkward. Hey, there we go. What? Hey.
Okay, so
it's still waiting. There we go. Oh,
it's the Bat 9 out of 10.
There we go.
I give it a 9 out of 10 because
9 Batmans out of 10. Nice.
It's just one of those films that, like, because it doesn't have a conclusion, it's hard to walk away feeling like, wow, that was one of the best films I've ever watched, because it doesn't feel complete, you know?
Yeah.
But it's as you stew upon it that you realize it's complete. If it had that last final bit where you walk out of the theater feeling both, what the hell just happened? What did I watch? But also feeling like, you watched you feel it coming, good. That's the 10 out of 10. This was right there, but it didn't squeak by. Always room for improvement. But I think that's probably the best scoring for it. 9 out of 10.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, like, and I'll word this differently. Of like, this made me, this makes you ask a lot of questions. Like, oh, why did it end like this? Why this? Why leave on this bombshell? But after you kind of figure out, Tommy Lee Jones is the guy you're supposed to be kind of focusing on. It tips it down a little bit. But I mean, still good, still great acting, still fantastic. Camera work, still great. Everything else is fantastic, and solid 9 out of 10. I'd eat this dish again.
So that was No Country for Old Men. That was my choice for this week. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Next week, Scott's choice. Have you thought about it? What are we going to be watching?
Ooh, okay. This is because I got closest to the the Price is Right showdown, right? We're gonna watch Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the first one.
The first one.
The first one.
All right, cool. I'm down with that. It's a good film. All right.
Hoping it's a lot of fun again.
Who's Oh, you guys can't see it. It's on stream. Really quick, who's gonna win? Diamond Swag 12 or Ray AKOF?
You gotta
Diamond
go
Swag.
Yeah,
Diamond Swag 12.
He's got shades.
And the other guy's just way too animo.
Yeah, Cory, we didn't play King of Fighters too long. You know that guy's not good.
Are you sure?
Oh, stiff?
You
What
can
tier
never
is
be.
this?
You can't be too sure about anything in this.
Yeah, but what tier is this? Is my question.
Oh, I don't
See,
even
you
know.
look at that stiff animation.
Here.
Yeah, see.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh. He's going for the ducking. Oh, he can throw a hammer. Oh my god, the Kirby. The Kirby's the
I
main
told you.
character. He's like
I
Tommy
told
Lee
you.
Jones. He's actually the character. Oh my god.
And what did I say? What did I say?
Dude, yeah.
I said dance swag.
King DDD just sits there. He's not even doing anything. He's like a
Yeah, dude,
background
he's for show.
character.
He's for show, dude.
Come on, get him. Wow.
Over.
That's fair.
It is fair. Because he's Diamond Swag 12.
We got one more round though, all right?
Okay.
This is where we come back. This is the salty bets ruling right here. It's like you give up one, and then you go in.
Yeah, but okay, good block. Good block. Okay.
Look
Okay,
at
he's
this
blocking
fuzzy
low.
guard.
Alright.
This fuzzy guard. Oh my!
There's a lot of fucking hits.
He's
Woo.
plus on everything. He's plus
why
on
would you drop
block.
that?
Yo, here we go. We're moving. We're summoning
You
other characters.
called in some anime, I guess.
Jesus. Okay, Kirby tried to eat him, but not gonna go.
What?
Here we go.
What?
I what? I don't know what I'm watching anymore. I've lost it. Oh,
Yeah, you see that super get interrupted.
something. Oh, oh.
Hey, here we go. Here we go. Here
Well,
we go. We're playing Guilty Gear now.
well, there you go. We'll be back next week. We're gonna be watching Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. We hope you enjoy it. See you all then. Hopefully at 7 o'clock, but if not, around that time. We'll see you there. You guys have anything to say?
No.
Heads or tails?
See you then
No,
next
you
Wednesday.
mean call it.
Oh wait, that's the wrong button.